So I came to Mac in 2005 as a postdoctoral fellow working with John Valiant, who does radiopharmaceutical research and development in the Department of Chemistry. I worked there for a year or two, then I got a second postdoctoral fellowship at Mathias, which no longer exists, and now I've been working with nuclear operations and facilities for 10 years now, doing research and development regarding radioisotopes and radiopharmaceuticals and radio tracers.
Awesome. You were involved in a medical mission that took 2 years in the making. Can you elaborate on this?
Is this about the Hamilton Spectator article? Yeah. It's actually much longer than that. So it's back actually about 4 or 5 years ago, I had a co-op student and he had some time left on his co-op position and he needed to come up with another project, and we were reading through the literature and we saw some papers about this new product that's based on holmium-166. And we thought it looked really interesting. It's got really good utility for treating liver cancer, and it's really sensitive to irradiation conditions, so production conditions, which is not normal for a radioisotope. So we thought that was really interesting, and we thought that if it was ever going to go into North America, because it only has a 27-hour half-life, we'd need to make it here.
Yeah, awesome.
So we had a co-op student, and he actually started doing the research back in 2015.
Okay.
Making our own microspheres, and it was really exciting. He had been gone, he moved on to graduate school a couple months after he left. We got an email from this company called Quirum, asking us if we'd like to talk to you about potentially doing. And I was like, I know who they are. We've been working on this project for already about a year.
Yeah.
So we'd been working on it for about a year, and then we worked with the Dutch company for about 2 years to make sure that we could make their product up to their specifications. And
wow.
It's been really exciting, and we're really excited that because we've been involved in this research, they're going to have a branch of the clinical trial here in Canada.
Awesome.
Whereas if it was only being made in the US, probably they wouldn't bother having a Canadian hospital site for that. So the fact that we were involved in the R&D means that the treatment's going to come to Canada earlier than it would have if we hadn't been involved.
Right. Awesome. Can you explain to us very briefly what a radioisotope is?
Sure. I mean, from a scientific standpoint, a radioisotope is just an atom that's in an excited nuclear state, and it's giving off energy to try to get to a stable state.
Perfect. Who funds your research?
Who funds our research? So we do a bunch of different things. We've had discovery research grants from NSERC. Okay. We also do contract research and development for particular companies. Most of our research is actually self-funded. So the university doesn't provide direct operational funding for the nuclear facilities. We generate all our own revenues through radioisotope sales, irradiation services, neutron activation analysis. So we fund our own R&D to advance our own research mission here at the university.
How can nuclear science be used in the healthcare?
Oh, nuclear science is always used in the healthcare. Anytime you go to the hospital and you get a piece of tubing or a needle that gets injected into you and it says sterile, that's been exposed to radiation.
Okay.
So we use ionizing radiation every day. All of your single-use medical supplies are all treated with nuclear radiation to make sure they're safe to use. And there's about 3 or 4 million people every day who get radioisotopes injected into them to diagnose medical conditions.
That's really cool. What has been the most challenging experience about doing nuclear isotope research?
That there's not a lot of educational materials and resources out there. So I came from a very chemistry background. Like, I know how to make a molecule, I know how to design a molecule, but I didn't have any idea how to make something radioactive and like what are the rules around how things become radioactive. How do you make something, characterize them? I had no idea about any of this, and there's not a lot of good resources for that.
Yeah. What has been the most rewarding experience during your research career?
I think working with students.
Yeah.
I know people would expect me to say the liver cancer treatment, and I think that's really important too, but I've had the opportunity to work with some really talented young people and some really hardworking young people, and they've gone on to accomplish great things. They've gone on to medical school, they've gone on to really successful careers after graduate school, and to sort of be part of helping someone get their foot in the door in research. Because it's hard at Mac because it's such a big school. I know we're research intensive, but yeah, it's challenging.
If someone wants to get involved with nuclear isotope research, how would you suggest they go about doing that?
Call me, call someone. Go on Google, find out who works with radioisotopes in your area, contact a faculty member. Faculty members are often looking for young people as co-op students, as summer students, if you're interested in a graduate degree. If you don't like working in the lab, there's other things you can do as well. You could think about writing an article for the Silhouette on the radioisotope work that goes on campus.
It's true. Do you think McMaster students, staff, and professors are well educated about research that happens at McMaster?
I can't speak for the entire university population, but I know that I am always learning new things that go on here. I went to a lunch and learn over at the Stem Cell Research Institute a couple of years ago. Like, my mind was blown. We do like really amazing things here at Mac that I didn't know were even possible. I wish I knew more about what goes on here. I don't know about other people, but I know that I always feel ignorant. I always feel that there's so much more I could learn. I mean, in the scientific world, but also just here at Mac, there's so much interesting that goes on. I wish there were more opportunities to learn more about things.
Right. Okay, last question. What is one piece of advice you have for students that wish to pursue a career in research?
Get used to failing.
That's a good advice.
It's my problem with the young people is, it's how sort of our schools, we always want to make sure people succeed and are happy and proud and everybody gets a 10 and everyone gets a prize. And it's a problem because the vast majority of the time you spend in research, you spend failing. Things don't work. Day after day after day, they don't work. If things work, we would have cured cancer 100 years ago. That's true, right? You have to come in to the lab every day knowing that you're going to try your best, you're going to come up with a good plan, you're going to work hard, and you're going to fail. That's true. And tomorrow morning you have to come back in and you have to fail better. Right? You have to get used to, you have to learn to criticize yourself and criticize your work and your results, but you can't take it personally if something fails. It doesn't mean that you're a failure just because your experiment failed. And it's a really hard thing to get used to, the failure. I try to tell students, I don't know if you like baseball, but like in baseball, if you're hitting 300, you're doing really well, right? Mm-hmm. But you're failing 7 times out of 10.
That's true. It's a good example.
So research is like baseball, except you're like lucky to be hitting 100. Yeah. Most things don't work, and that's okay. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person or that you shouldn't be in grad school. It just means that things don't work, and that's okay.
Thank you very much.